We need to talk, okay? I've been on Zepbound for 60 weeks, and I'm back to give you an update. So, my name is Taisha. I'm 47 years old, mother of five. Been on Zepbound for 60 weeks, and I started off at 2.5 milligrams. I took that for 4 weeks, and then spent many weeks on 5 milligrams. Recently, my dose was decreased to 2.5, and things had seemed to go well, but this last week, all right, well, so let me just get into it. I have a bunny. I have two bunnies, right? One of them got really sick last week and he ended up with GI stasis. If you are familiar with bunnies, then you know exactly what that is and why I have been stressed out and freaking out. So last Sunday, took him to the emergency vet. Thankfully, they had a vet there that was qualified to see exotic animals. And so he diagnosed what I had suspected, which was GI stasis, which can be, they can die from that. So they prescribed a bunch of medication. I started him on that. That next morning, I was calling our regular vet, got him in, and he was on the proper, treatment to have some improvement, right? So kind of, he got a little bit better each day. And then I'm telling you this because I want to explain. I had a bunny pass away a few years ago from the same thing. I did not recognize the signs and I didn't get her in as soon as she had, needed to. It was already too late. So this is what's going through my mind. And when I tell you I was under an extreme amount of stress, I thought I was going to lose my baby, right? So I noticed food noise coming back. Not that I acted on or, it was nothing crazy, but I am fully aware that that was food noise that I was experiencing. And that's the first time since I've been on this medication that I even had a hint of that. Now, it wasn't crazy and it definitely wasn't the degree of what I used to experience, but it was there. And just, you know, the thoughts of that used to be my escape. That used to be my form of comfort. I could eat a lot when I was happy, when I was sad. There wasn't a particular reason, but this time, that absolutely I feel like was related. Another thing that I've experienced over the past week, my stomach has been growling. And now I've been eating, and you can see, if you go and look at Instagram, you'll see that the meals there, there were a couple of days where I went over some, but that's not abnormal. There are times where I go over, and there are times where I'm a little bit under. So that's been the normal thing. I've still been strength training 5 days a week. I am doing a program that's a little bit shorter, but I'm still, if I look at calories, like what you're burning when you're working out, those are about the same. So I am doing shorter workouts, but I am working a little bit harder. I'm walking every single day for 30 minutes. I just recently added a weighted vest. So those are the things that are different. Okay. My highest weight this past week was 137 pounds, 137.6. Now, I've been coasting at 128 for quite some time now. So I know that going from 128 up to, 136.7, that's not fat or muscle or anything. That's a lot of other stuff going on. I also remember waking up one day this week, and I should have this exact date. I'm sorry. My rings, it was difficult to get my rings on. So that tells me I was retaining water, right? I noticed being a little achy, like my knees hurting a little bit. So all of that tells me that 2.5 is not the dose for me. And I'll tell you why. I had another extremely stressful event last year, and that was my mom being diagnosed with cancer and going through that. And I didn't experience any food noise, any issues whatsoever. Everything as far and even with that stress, everything was fine. The only difference now is I was on 2.5 milligrams. Now, it could be coincidence. I don't think it is. So I reached out to my doctor and just let him know, like, hey, in this past week and since changing down to since decreasing to the 2.5, this is what's going on. And this is how much weight I've gained in this short amount of time. And they know that I diligently track everything. So the dose change was submitted. So I will be going back to 5 milligrams, and I'm going to do what I had been saying I was going to do this entire time, was just keep everything the same. If it's not broke, no need to try to fix it. And I think that I don't know if I can't say that I felt pressure, right? Because there's nothing that anyone's doing to make me feel any kind of way. But I was just wondering, like, there were thoughts that even though I'm saying to you, I plan to be on this for the rest of my life, that wonder if, well, what if I could do it on my own? Because I have made these lifestyle changes. I'm changing the way that I eat. I'm not eating ultra processed foods or anything like that. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. The food noise was there. Now, again, I didn't choose to act on it, but it was there. And again, with the water retention and the stomach growling. So we'll see. Now, when I weighed myself right before coming on here, I'm exactly 134 pounds. And I will put that up. There you go. 134 pounds. It's not the weight. It's not strictly the weight that I'm stressing about. It's the fact that other than the stress of dealing with my bunny, which, by the way, he seems to be back to normal. So that I'm so thankful for that. But the water retention and then the joint issues and just that feeling, I hadn't felt that since starting. And I don't believe the medication is wearing off or anything like that. I don't believe that I have reached some magical point where it's ineffective. I'm going based off of the data and the facts. I had a dose decrease, I had some stress, and these are the things that followed. So, what's nice is now I have something like interesting to talk about over the next few weeks because I'll, I'll be sharing with you. Did my weight stay the same? Did it go up? How am I feeling? Am I still having you're not going to be able to hear this because I'm going to filter external sounds out, but my stomach is growling and it's not even, it's not like I'm starving or I'm not eating enough. You guys can see, or you can see, I get enough calories in. So that's that. Another change, I am not going to be tracking calories. I feel like I have done that enough. I have reached a point where I feel like I'm okay. And so we're going to see how that goes over the next, several weeks. And if there is some huge change, then I can dial it back in. But the plan was never to track and post these things for the rest of my life. And the only reason I started posting the calories and the macros was because I was getting those questions frequently. Now I'm just going to have to direct you to look at the stuff in the past because I have reached a point where I don't want to do it anymore. So I will take pictures of everything I eat. That's going to still be the same. But as far as putting the calories and the macronutrients, I'm not going to do that. And there's a year of data there if you're interested in seeing that. But I will take the pictures because that's what I started off doing, taking the pictures. And the reason I started personally tracking the macros was to make sure that I was eating it, or not the macros, the calories, to make sure that I was eating enough. So that's that change. Let me see, I have some data points. My highest weight was 216 pounds. My starting weight on Zepbound, which was February 21st of 2024, was 183 pounds. Now, my lowest weight since being on this medication was 126. And then I coasted for many, many weeks at 128. And now I'm 134. So, I'm sorry. And I mixed up the numbers again because I have it written down here. My highest weight this past week was 137.6. So that's where I am. And you're going to see that I'm not freaking out. There's no need to because I know that ultimately I'm doing what I need to do for my body. We'll see if this 5 milligrams makes an adjustment or not, but I think it will. I think it will. I The strength training program that I'm doing is the 15-minute stand in strength series, and that's by Kira Mitlow. So finished the second week of that on Friday, and I really enjoy that. I feel like it's short and it packs a punch. So those workouts, they can be as hard as you want them to be. You can always add weights. I went up a little bit this week than I did from last week, and I usually do that when I start off a new program. I I don't say that I wanna make sure that I'm getting all the forms and that everything is proper. I said getting the forms, making sure that my form is proper. So that's why I start off with a lighter weight, and sometimes I'll even do just body weight if that's necessary, and then work up to it. So I was able to go up in weight this week, and that felt good, and, things have been, going well. I have live streams every Monday. I'm They're at 6 o'clock. That's a time that is working right now. There is a possibility that the time goes back to what it used to be, which was 7 o'clock. So I would love to know in the comments if you're someone that has been attending these live streams. How does that work for you? I'm also going to put a poll in the community tab just to see, I want to keep it on Mondays, but, you know, we got 6, 7, 8 might be a little bit too late, but I want to know what your thoughts are about that. And if you've been on this medication and you noticed, with a dose change, maybe a decrease, did you notice retaining more water? Um, or, your stomach growling or just, the intrusive thoughts on food? Did that happen for you? I know it's not glamorous, but it's finally something different, right? Like I feel like every week it's been the same, nothing different, no side effects, no anything. And I was most happiest about the food noise. And I think that's the part that scared me a little bit because I was just like, oh my God, really? Really? But recognizing things in the moment for what they are, like you could get the food noise back, right? That's what I wanted to say before I get out of here. If you struggle with getting food noise on day 5 or 6, you don't have to give in to that. No, tell yourself, like I'm telling myself, like I'm not able to get my medication until tomorrow. It's at a different Walgreens because the one that I used to use, they closed down. So now I'm at the one by my house, which there's always a delay with something. So I'll be getting that on Monday. I will take it on Monday, but then I will go back to my normal Sunday injection days because I like that. So what was I saying? I lost that train. I call this perimenopause brain or something. But so I will be continuing to take it every week. And I really want to know what I just that's odd. Because I didn't want to edit this, right? Well, anyway, if you've been struggling with food noise, just know that you are in control. You are in control. So if you're experiencing that on day 4 or 5, just tell yourself, my next dose is on this day. I don't have to give in to this. I don't have to. You know, we still have free will and the ability to make choices. Yeah, it's difficult. I know that food noise sucks. But you have to recognize that doesn't mean you're hungry. It doesn't mean that at all. These are just thoughts. Figure out what else is going on, right? Something else could be going on. Or if you're someone who you're not eating enough on those first few days, your body has finally reached that point where it's like, no, we're going to eat. So just think about what else is going on and don't just think, well, I've got the food noise, so I just need to eat. Don't do that, okay? You're just gonna feel bad and you're gonna get stuck in that cycle. So that's it. That's my update for this week. We got stuff to look forward to. And I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow's live stream will be at 6 p.m. And yeah, remember, we can share our journeys, but we should never compare them. And on that note, you have a great day. Bye.